Let me tell you something that nobody wants to hear, but everybody needs to hear. Motivation is a liar. Motivation will show up when it feels like it, and it will leave the exact same way. It doesn't call ahead. It doesn't leave a note. It just disappears the moment things get hard, the moment the alarm goes off at 5 in the morning, the moment the workout gets uncomfortable, the moment the business gets quiet and the phone stops ringing. Motivation is a fair weather friend. And if you have built your entire life, your entire future, your entire destiny on a fair weather friend, then you have built your house on sand. And when the storm comes, and the storm always comes, that house is going to fall. Not might fall, will fall. Now, I want you to sit with that for a second, because most people have been lied to their whole lives. They've been told, just find your motivation. Just get inspired. Just watch a video, listen to a speech, read a quote, and you'll be unstoppable. And for about 20 minutes, they feel unstoppable. They feel like they could run through a wall. And then 20 minutes later, they're back on the couch scrolling their phone, wondering why nothing in their life has changed. Why? Because they were chasing a feeling. And feelings, ladies and gentlemen, are the most unreliable currency on the face of this earth. You cannot build a legacy on a feeling. You cannot build a business on a feeling. You cannot build a marriage, a body, a bank account, or a bloodline of greatness on a feeling that shows up when it wants to and leaves when it wants to. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired. Discipline doesn't care if you're sad, if you're heartbroken, if you had a bad day, if the market crashed, if your client canceled, if your kid kept you up all night. Discipline shows up anyway. Discipline is the friend who shows up at 4 in the morning when your car breaks down on the side of the road, no questions asked. Discipline is the one who doesn't need to be inspired, because discipline understands something that motivation never will. Discipline understands that the mission is bigger than the mood. The mission is bigger than the mood. Say that with me in your head right now. The mission is bigger than the mood. You see, there is a fundamental difference between the amateur and the professional, and I want to break this down for you the way I break down everything in a way that makes sense to your bank account and not just your emotions. The amateur works when they feel like it. The professional works whether they feel like it or not. The amateur needs a countdown, a hype video, a shot of adrenaline before they can perform. The professional wakes up, laces up, and gets to work because the work doesn't check in with the mood. Michael Jordan didn't wait to feel motivated to practice free throws. He shot free throws until his hands knew what to do without his brain being involved. That's not motivation. That's neurological discipline burned into muscle memory through relentless, unglamorous repetition. Nobody claps for you in the gym at 5 a.m. Nobody's filming you when you're doing the 10th rep. Nobody asked you to do. Nobody sees you turn down the invitation to go out because you have to be up early to build the thing that's going to change your family tree forever. That's discipline. And discipline is silent. Discipline doesn't need an audience. Motivation performs for the crowd. Discipline works in the dark. Now, here's something I need you to understand about the marketplace, about life, about the entire system that we operate in. The marketplace does not reward how you feel. The marketplace rewards what you produce. Nobody is going to pay you for your feelings. Nobody is going to promote you because you felt inspired on a Tuesday. They are going to reward you for the results you consistently produce. And results are not born from a feeling. They are born from a system. Discipline is a system. Discipline is the decision you made once that you don't have to make again every single day. That's the power of it. When you rely on motivation, you are making the same decision every single day, and some days you're going to lose that argument with yourself. But when you build discipline, you are not negotiating with yourself anymore. You already decided. The decision has already been made. It's done. It's settled law in your own personal constitution. You don't wake up and ask yourself if you're going to brush your teeth today. You don't debate it. You don't need motivation to brush your teeth. Why? Because it's not a decision anymore. It's an identity. It's just what you do. That's what discipline does to every single goal you attach it to. It moves the goal from the category of decision into the category of identity. And once something becomes who you are, and not just what you're trying to do, it becomes unstoppable. Let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself, not with me, with yourself. How many times have you set a goal, gotten excited about it, told everybody about it, bought the equipment for it, made the vision board for it, and then 30 days later it was gone, forgotten, buried under the next shiny thing that made you feel motivated? Be honest. This has happened to almost everyone watching this right now. And it's not because you're weak. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because there's something wrong with you. It's because you were taught to chase a feeling instead of build a system. You were taught wrong. Somebody sold you inspiration and called it transformation. Inspiration is the seed. Discipline is the soil, the water, the sunlight, and the years it takes for that seed to become a tree that bears fruit. You cannot eat a seed. I need you to hear that. You cannot eat a seed. A seed has potential, but potential doesn't pay bills. Potential doesn't build empires. Potential doesn't change generations. Only what that seed becomes through consistent, disciplined cultivation will ever produce a harvest. I want to take you back to something ancient, something that has outlasted every trend, every fad, every self-help movement that has ever come and gone. There is a principle as old as civilization itself, and it says that a man who has no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down, without walls. Think about that image for a second. A city without walls. What happens to a city without walls? Anybody can walk in. Any enemy, any distraction, any excuse, any bad influence, any moment of weakness can just stroll right into your life and take whatever it wants, because there's no wall, there's no gate, there's no guard standing post. Discipline is the wall. Discipline is the gate. Discipline is the guard that stands at the entrance of your mind and says, you don't come in here. Not the excuse, not the distraction, not the doubt, not the fear. None of it gets past the wall. But if you have no discipline, you have no wall. And a city with no wall falls to the very first thing that attacks it. And understand this, something is always attacking you. Every single day, there is something trying to talk you out of your greatness. There's a voice, there's a temptation, there's a comfortable couch, there's a warm bed, there's a Netflix show, there's a group of people telling you that you're doing too much, that you need to relax, that life is about balance. And I want to address that word for a second, because that word has destroyed more dreams than almost any other word in the English language. Balance. Everybody wants balance. But let me tell you something about balance. Balance is for people who are content with average. Excellence is not balanced. Mastery is not balanced. Building a legacy is not balanced. If you look at every single person who has ever changed the trajectory of their family, their community, their industry, you will find a season, sometimes a decade, sometimes a lifetime of radical imbalance in the direction of their purpose. They were obsessed. Obsession gets a bad name, but obsession, my friend, controlled and channeled, is just discipline wearing a more intense costume. Now let's talk about pain, because this is where the rubber meets the road. There are two types of pain in this life. There is the pain of discipline, and there is the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. Discipline might cost you a few hours of sleep, a few uncomfortable conversations, a few months of grinding while other people are out having fun. But regret will cost you years. Regret will cost you decades. Regret will have you sitting in a rocking chair at 80 years old, wondering what could have been, wondering what had happened if you had just stayed consistent, if you had just kept showing up, if you had just trusted the process instead of abandoning it the moment it stopped feeling good. You are going to feel pain either way. That is not optional. Pain is the toll you pay to travel through this life. But you get to choose which pain you pay. You can pay the pain of discipline now, or you can pay the pain of regret later. And later's interest rate is brutal. It compounds. It compounds every single year you don't act, every single opportunity you let pass by because you were waiting to feel like it. I need you to understand something about your feelings, and I say this with love, but I also say it with force because you need to hear it with force. Your feelings were never designed to run your life. Your feelings are data, not directives. Your feelings tell you information, but they were never meant to be the boss. Can you imagine a company where the receptionist makes all the executive decisions? That's what happens when you let your feelings run your life. Your feelings are supposed to report to your decisions, not the other way around. Discipline is what happens when your decisions sit in the CEO chair and your feelings sit in the chair they were always supposed to sit in, giving input, but never having the final vote. Let's talk about identity for a moment, because this is where real transformation happens. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. I want you to write that down somewhere, put it on your mirror, put it on your phone's lock screen. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Goals are good. Goals give you direction. But goals without systems are just wishes wearing a suit. It's discipline. It's the daily unglamorous, repeated actions that actually determine whether that goal becomes a reality or just another entry in your journal that you look back on with sadness. The people who win in this life are not the most talented people. They are not the smartest people. They are not even always the hardest workers in terms of raw intensity. They are the most consistent people. Consistency compounds. And discipline is the engine of consistency. Here's something else I want you to understand. Every time you honor a commitment to yourself, even a small one, you are making a deposit into an account called self-trust. And every time you break a commitment to yourself, you are making a withdrawal from that same account. Most people are walking around with an overdrawn account of self-trust. They don't believe their own promises anymore because they've broken them so many times. They say they're going to start Monday, and Monday comes and goes. They say they're going to change after the holidays, and the holidays come and go. And every single broken promise to yourself erodes your belief in your own word. But here's the good news. Just like a bank account, you can rebuild it. Every single time you do the hard thing when you don't feel like it, you make a deposit. And over time, discipline becomes the way you rebuild trust with yourself. And once you trust yourself again, there is nothing, I mean nothing on this earth that can stop you, because the most dangerous person alive is a person who has proven to themselves that their word is their bond. I want you to think about the people you admire the most. I want you to think about the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the builders, the leaders, the builders, the ones who left a mark that outlived them. Not one of them got there on motivation alone. Every single one of them has a story of getting up when they didn't want to, showing up when the crowd wasn't watching, saying no to comfort in pursuit of a calling. They didn't feel like it most days. They did it anyway. That's the whole secret. That's the entire formula wrapped up in 3 words.
Do it anyway. Tired. Do it anyway.
Scared, do it anyway. Nobody believes in you yet. Do it anyway. Discipline is doing it anyway, over and over and over again, until anyway becomes automatic, until anyway becomes your identity, until people look at you and they don't say, wow, they got lucky. They say, wow, they never stop. So let me ask you the real question, the question underneath this whole message. What are you going to do the next time you don't feel like it? Because that moment is coming. It might come tonight. It might come tomorrow morning when the alarm goes off. It might come the next time you're supposed to make the sales call, write the chapter, hit the gym, have the hard conversation, say no to the thing that's holding you back. What are you going to do when the motivation is gone and all that's left is the decision? That decision right there in that quiet, unfilmed, uncelebrated moment is where your entire future gets written. Not in the highlight reel, not in the hype video, in the silence when nobody's watching, when the only person keeping score is you. I want you to make a decision right now while you're watching this, not a feeling. A decision. Decide that from this moment forward. You are not going to wait to feel like it. You are going to build a system, a routine, a standard that does not bend to your mood. Decide that discipline is going to be the operating system of your life, and motivation, when it shows up, is just a welcome bonus, not the fuel you depend on. Because the moment you stop needing motivation to move, you become unstoppable. You become the person that other people look at and wonder how you do it. And the answer is simple. You don't wait to feel like it. You just do it every single day, especially the days you don't want to. Now, if this message hit you the way I believe it's supposed to hit you, I need you to do something for me right now before you scroll away, before life pulls you back into distraction. Hit that subscribe button. Hit it right now. Not because I need a number to go up, but because you need to be surrounded by messages like this one over and over until discipline becomes your default instead of your struggle. Subscribe and turn on the notifications. So the next time you're tempted to quit, the next time motivation abandons you at the worst possible moment, this channel is right there reminding you who you decided to become. Drop a comment right now and tell me, I choose discipline. Type it out. Let it be a declaration, not just a comment. Let the algorithm see it. Let the people in this comment section see it. But more than anyone, let yourself see it in your own words, in your own handwriting on the screen. Share this video with somebody in your life who needs to hear this today. Somebody who's been chasing motivation instead of building discipline. Somebody who's one decision away from turning their whole life around. You might be the reason they finally make it. Because listen to me, the world does not need another motivated person who quits in 30 days. The world needs disciplined people who show up for 30 years. Be that person. Decide right now to be that person. Subscribe, take action, and I will see you in the next one where we go even deeper into building the kind of life that discipline, not motivation, was always designed to give you.